Niners faithful? This is Juju Talk Sports. That's Jose Corral. This is 49 Reasons to Listen, but there's more than 49 reasons to subscribe to this channel, so go ahead and hit that button right now, folks. And I have about 75 million reasons why. George Kittle is going to be a 49er for a very long time, or at least for the next 5 years, which is a long time. The way this year has been moved by, it already feels like a decade. So 5 years from now, I can't even comprehend that in my mind. But I'm just know the one bit of joy I've had in this year, this calendar year of 2020, is knowing that George Kittle is on my team. And today is a national holiday. It's not only the day George Kittle signed his contract, but you want to know what day it is, Jose?
What day is it, Julian?
National Tight End Day. Woo, woo. Got the Dwight Clark shirt. We're rocking it. How do you feel about the contract details?
I'm ecstatic about it. I'm really ecstatic, especially about the price, about the pricing about it, about the money that we're actually going to be giving to our best player at this point. We actually mentioned it. We've mentioned it a couple of times in previous episodes about how much we really need to pay George Kittle. It ended up being, as far as like a year-to-year basis, it ended up being actually a little bit lower than we were expecting, which is perfect. 100% perfect. And I'm not surprised about it at all that it is lower than we thought it was going to be, just because George Kittle is that type of guy. George Kittle is a team first guy, and he wants to be in San Francisco. He doesn't want to be a part of any other team, and he wants to win a title in San Francisco. And this just proves it even more. If him willing to kiss any other team would have gave him probably a few more dollars extra a year to go sign with them. And it never got to that point, even close to where it's like he was going to hear offers, after this season, that he was just going to play his last season with this original contract and then go ahead and then sign with somebody else. That was never even crossed his mind, it seemed like. And this just kind of proves it. It proves that he wants to win here. One of the lasting memories of this past Super Bowl, which there was a lot, he was mic'd during the game, and you heard him say, "I'm going to be back. We're going to be back." This is just proving it that he wants to be back in that situation only with this team. So I was ecstatic to hear about that.
Sounds like a little foreshadowing. I was planning on queuing up that clip to play us out on the episode. But all right, let's get into the nuts and bolts, the firm details of this deal. So 5 years, $75 million, so essentially $15 million per year. Not too bad. $30 million guaranteed with $40 million injury guaranteed. So altogether made $40 million. Great. And his total cap hit for this coming season is going to be a little less than $12 million. So that's all per Dave Lombardi. As far as that goes, for the $40 million, so that is going to be twice as much as the next guaranteed tight end contract. So he made double what Austin Hooper made, though that's $20 million less than Amari Cooper. I think we can all agree that would probably take George Kittle over Amari Cooper on our team. Yeah. So I do think that with that said, the Niners got great value, because part of the struggle of this George Kittle contract was, do you pay him like a top-end receiver? Do you pay him like a top-end tight end? Hell, he even has a little bit of left tackle whenever he's on there doing some run blocking. So you don't want to punish the guy for being a unicorn, but at the same time, defining that number was such a hard thing for them to kind of come to an agreement on. And I'm glad to see 5 years. That's a good deal. It's actually surprising. I should note, Travis Kelce also got a deal on the same day. I have no idea how the Chiefs salary cap works. Believe me, they couldn't even afford a McDouble like a month ago. Now they're over there paying all three of their top players, but neither here nor there. How do you think this contract is going to age out? In year 5, are we going to be just as happy with this deal as we are on August 13th of 2020?
I think we are. I think it's just a trend where every single star player that starts kind of developing into their position, into a real star player, you just see the numbers are going to start to inflate when it comes to contracts. And we've seen that at the quarterback position, especially. Dak Prescott is asking for $40 million, and he has to settle for a franchise tag of $35 million. That's unheard of in the quarterback position. And that's going to be the same for every position across the board, across the league, including the tight end position, which before it really wasn't a position where you would necessarily see teams throwing a lot of money at. But now with the way the tight end position is used, more of a dual threat, especially like a guy like George Kittle and even Travis Kelce, you're going to see those contracts just going to inflate. And by the time this contract is coming to an end, you're going to see that there's probably going to be a few other tight ends that are going to be getting paid possibly a little bit more, and it might just be getting overpaid. It'll be kind of similar to the Jimmy Garoppolo situation. When Jimmy Garoppolo first signed the contract extension with the Niners, you saw a lot of people kind of griping, saying, "Oh, that's too much. That's too much." You look at that contract now; it's like Dak Prescott's asking for $40 million, and Jimmy Garoppolo is nowhere near that. So you kind of look at it the same way. You're going to see that George Kittle contract right now. It does seem like a lot. It's a lot more than the next person over, which is Austin Hooper. But I think in like 3, 4, and towards the end of that contract, you're going to see those numbers kind of balance out when it comes to that position across the board. And maybe even Travis Kelce himself, he keeps on having a couple great seasons. Maybe the Chiefs will extend him past this contract as well, or maybe pay him a little bit more, or maybe they trade him away to a different team who's willing to pay him more. But I just think this contract is not going to be as crazy as we're seeing it right now in the next couple of years, just because we've seen that in every single position. At the left tackle position, we've seen guys start getting to pay a lot more money than they were getting before. So I don't necessarily think that it's going to be something that's going to end up biting us in the ass as far as cap space wise here in the next few years.
I do slightly disagree with you, just in the sense I don't think that tight end contracts actually will inflate that much. What I mean by that is when I think about the next guys up, the next guys to get paid, who are those guys? Are Hunter Henry not nearly as good as George Kittle? No. I mean, he's not going to be able to command that same type of contract because Hunter Henry's pretty one-note. He's a great receiving tight end. But again, what George Kittle is able to do as an overall player, we were talking about it in the top 100 rankings. The fact that the players recognized him as the number 7 overall player, I think says a lot. That's the highest a tight end has ever ranked. Mm-hmm. And we have seen a Rob Gronkowski. We have seen a Travis Kelce, Zach Ertz for a little bit. But for the most part, there's a very select group of guys that actually lead the tight end position. I don't think even Austin Hooper and his next deal will nearly be worth $10 million. I don't think that maybe a TJ Hawkinson, maybe a Noah Fant, those are the only other guys I can think. I'm sure there's going to be another tight end in years to come that's going to wow us. But for the most part, I don't think that this position is going to grow too much further past, let's say, 20 million. Just between historical comps, between the wear and tear of the position, which is another argument, because as much as I love George, he did get hurt last year. Mm-hmm. That is always a concern. And there's also reports out there that in theory, he could have had season-ending surgery last year. That the fact that he played through injury and the fact that he continues to play through injury is really a credit to him. It could be part of that 5th-rounder mentality that I have to keep playing. I got to stay on the field. That way, like, I can get paid. So it's going to be an interesting barometer, an interesting test to see how George Kittle plays after this contract. Now, I think he's a high-character guy, so I don't think he's going to get the money and bail. That just doesn't seem like his personality. But, hey, I don't know what's in the guy's head. I just want, that is something that has happened in years past. There's been guys who have played the act-a-team guy, took the money and run. So it's not unheard of. Don't come after me, Niners faithful. I don't want to poo-poo this day, but I do want to think of it objectively. That's part of, why we started the show. We're both Niners fans here, but we have to think of all possibilities when it comes to a contract. We have to talk about the pros and cons. We got to think about counter arguments. So that is something to consider. Now, as far as 2020, what it means for this team, their biggest headache, their biggest worry is taken off their shoulders. Mm-hmm. Now the only thing that this team has to worry about is how do we bounce back after a Super Bowl loss? And I think it does help having a guy that, like you said, his first reaction after they lost the Super Bowl was, I am going to be back here. I'm fucking going to be back here with a vengeance. And I do think that is absolutely the type of mentality you need. Those are the guys that their voice will stand the loudest in the locker room this season. And the energy this guy brings to the field day in and day out, I think it's going to be a fun year to see. I just hope this contract ages as well in 2025 as it does, like I said, in 2020.
No, I completely agree. There's always going to be that area of concern whenever you pay your top player, especially if you're paying record-breaking money. But like I mentioned, I think it's something that I don't think the Niners overpaid here at all. I do not think the Niners overpaid here. I've been hearing a couple of things on social media that they overpaid a little bit, and I don't think that's the case at all. If you could pay your top player $15 million a year, that's fine. I mean, go ahead and pay him that money. That's the area that we were talking about anyway, that we were comfortable with anyway. And I think if you really look at the cap space, which we've all kind of questioned, especially with what the Chiefs are doing, but if we're talking about the Niners, they were able to pay Raheem Mostert. They were able to pay now George Kittle. Now, of course, we'll get into Nick Bosa and Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw, some of these younger guys in a couple of years. But I think now, like you mentioned, the biggest headache and the biggest offseason concern really was this right here. And now it's just pure football. Now it's just training camp, hitting training camp hard, hitting the beginning of the season hard. And now we don't have to worry about our best player possibly not being here past this season. We have him locked down for the next 5 years. And I think that's something that not only is going to help, the front office, I think it'll help George Kittle himself. I think it'll help him to have the stability saying, okay, this is going to be my contract for the next 5 years. I'm going to be with this organization the next 5 years. And I know for a fact, his goal for these next 5 years is to win a Super Bowl. And if it happens this year, if it happens 5 years down the road, I think if he leads us to a Super Bowl, it is more than worth than what we're going to be paying for in this extension.
Well, I'm glad that we know what you think. I'm glad we know what I think. But we want to know what you think, Faithful. So go ahead, let us know in the comments. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys. We are so close to passing that triple-digit mark, and we appreciate every single one of our subscribers. You guys are great. You're active in the comments. We love interacting with you, and we want to interact with more of you. Let's not just get past that triple digits. Let's push that thing up to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. I'm looking at you. That's my challenge to you. We're getting into training camp. We have tons of great takes that we want to unload during this football season. So get ready, Faithful, because 2020 Revenge Tour, it has the star tight end, and this is going to be the Stone Cold podcast that you're going to want to be subscribed to. Mm-hmm. So we'll see you around. Stay safe, happy, and healthy, and happy National Tight End Day.
I will be back here. I will be back here, and I will be back for the vengeance. You will not get the best of me, no sir.